Hello, welcome in. Get out the cold. Remember, shoes off at the front door. Get some snacks and come take a seat and join us here in the Music Shack with both
Ray.
and Jack. Hi, welcome back. We took a week off last week. I know we said like in a previous upload that it was going to be like in 2 weeks' time we're going to take a week off, but plans have changed. Things have changed. So we're now had our week off last week, and I think we're going to be okay for the next couple of weeks and bringing you some content on the lead up to the Tortured Poets Department. I can't believe it's April. How crazy is that?
I know. We're recording this on April Fool's Day, which is weird. It just does not feel like April. Like, this year has gone by really quickly. But yeah, it's the Tortured Poets Month. We are very excited for that. But there's obviously lots of other things to talk about in the meantime, like there always is. And we know how to ramble. So that's what we do here.
It's actually really bad, honestly. Raven I can't speak. Oh my gosh, was that something really exciting this weekend? So do you want to tell us all about it?
Yeah, so I went to Guts World Tour, hence my t-shirt. I saw Olivia on Saturday night. It was so much fun. It was like the energy in the room. It's kind of, not to like compare it, but like I haven't gone to a concert in an arena since before the pandemic started. And like before the pandemic, when I went to the concert in the arena, like it was Ariana Grande was the most recent arena concert I had been to before this, and that was in 2019. And
Oh
and obviously I went to Taylor, which was in a stadium, which is bigger than an arena, so like whatever. But like I don't know, just the energy in the room for this compared to like what I remember it was like for Ariana was like absolutely incredible. It felt like every single person was singing along and like having the time of their lives and not just like only standing up for radio songs, right? Or like only caring about the songs that were like popular or singles, which I feel like it's like the TikTok effect that like artists, like every single song on their records are becoming known. And maybe it's an Olivia thing. Like I think it might be an Olivia thing because her albums are short and stuff as well. But it was just absolutely incredible how loud the room was, and I'm not really used to that in my city, that like that happens. The energy is usually a bit dead, and I was in like the nosebleeds and everyone around was like having the time of their lives. It was such a good show. Olivia, like if you have a chance to see Guts tour, like go do it. Olivia puts on an incredible show. And Chapel opened. We love Chapel. You guys already know that. I'm sure you've seen our previous video about her. But she was also amazing. There was a bunch of people in my section who were singing along to her. Not just me. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna look insane, like screaming to Chapel, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't care. But it was nice that I wasn't the only one. But like, it's just so hilarious to me, like the whole like during Casual when we didn't listen to Casual on the podcast, but I don't know if you've heard it, but
yeah.
when she's like singing like knee deep in the passenger seat and you're eating me out, and then everyone has their lights on and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like this is the funniest thing ever. But like it's so iconic. And like there was this group next to me and they were like I was singing along to Casual and they were totally laughing. Like they were like, what is this song? Is this crazy? But like that's Chapel for you, and it's iconic and you don't get it.
No, I've heard Casual now. I've heard the whole album, and there was like a couple of comments on the video like asking us to like continue to react to the album, but I literally was so carried away and just listened to it when after after we recorded the episode. And Casual's amazing song, but the whole album is like filled with such an amazing it's just such an amazing like album overall. And I'm kind of jealous that you got to see her, because that's not who her support is. Hers is Remy Wolf, which I've never actually listened to Remy Wolf's music, but I'm sure it's going to be awesome, and I'm going to listen to it beforehand as well. But
oh yeah, I'm sure you'll have an incredible time. And like Olivia was incredible. She's so good live. Like I I never went to Sour Tour because of personal circumstances. Like, I totally wanted to go, but I just couldn't at the time. And, like, her stage presence, her vocals live are beautiful. I had, like, side view, obstructed view seats, which was fine because it's what I could afford. But, like, the experience was still absolutely incredible. And, like I said, I think it's really interesting. Like, even now, when I think, like, even at Taylor, like, at least when I went, there were a lot of people who were like, maybe because the concert is so long, like, it's hard to have the stamina to, like, be up and singing for every single song. Like, even I can't do that. Whereas with Olivia, it felt like everybody was.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, maybe in Detroit at Eras, it was like some people were just like, oh, I don't know this song. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know this song? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But maybe, like, the fangirl mind cannot comprehend casual listeners.
It, like, I don't know, I feel like that's what all your mind should have been ready for. I feel like the Eillish tours brought in so many of, like, I'm not hating either. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think you should be able to experience music even if you don't know the full thing. But no, I get what you're saying. Like, sometimes you're sitting there and you're like, how do you not know this? Like, this song or things like that. But it's because we are obsessed, and that's practically our problem. But it's fine.
It was really good regardless. So I went to the Guts tour in Toronto. Olivia did something special in Toronto. They usually have, like, the Guts tour bus thing with the stuff, but they did, like, a whole Guts gallery, kind of similar to what they had in, like, New York and LA when the album initially came out. They rented out this whole warehouse, and then people could go in and, like, take pictures with things, and I got some really cute photos, and they had, like, exclusive merch. So my shirt, you can't really see the whole thing, but it says, I spilled my guts in Toronto, and, like, the OR is, like, Olivia's logo, and I think it's really cute.
Oh, that is so good.
And they had, like, some American Express exclusive merch that was really, really cute, but I don't have an Amex, so I couldn't buy it. But yeah, it was really nice that they were able to do something like that for Toronto. I think the main problem was like, they weren't prepared enough to deal with it. So I went on the first day, and I'm gonna say that obviously it was the first day. The staff they didn't know what to expect. It could have gotten better the next couple of days. I have no idea because I wasn't there. But you also have to expect that the crowds are going to be the worst on the first day. I went on the first day because I really wanted, like, the merch, and I didn't want to get there and my sizes be sold out, like, if I went on, like, Sunday or something. So I get there, and it opened at 11 a.m. So I'm like, okay, I'll get there at, like, 1:30. Like, hopefully the rush of the people who, like, queued before it opened will be, like, through already, and that means, like, it'll be a little bit better. And I didn't go on the day that I had the concert. So Olivia was playing Friday and Saturday night in Toronto. I had tickets for Saturday, but she was also playing on Friday. So a bunch of people were also in the line. We're going to the concert that night. And I'm so glad that I didn't go the day that I went to the concert. So I get there around 1:30. The lineup is, like, massive. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm seeing tweets online of people saying, like, Guts Gallery is awful. It's so disorganized. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to line up and see how quickly it moves. And I was also kind of like, I'm already here, so I might as well stay.
Yeah.
So I get there. It starts moving. I'm, like, not close to the front, so I can't see what's happening. But, like, it was moving pretty quickly, and then, like, it just stopped. Like, it was not moving pretty much at all for, like, the longest time, and it, like, completely pissed me off. And it was so frustrating. And then at this point, like, it was so long. It was, like, 5:30. So already have been waiting there for 4 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, people are starting to get antsy because doors open for the concert at 6:30, and, like, this place is 30 minutes away from the actual arena, so people want to get going so they can, like, enjoy their concert as well. They're thinking, and so, like, people are, like, asking, like, oh, are we gonna get in the next hour? Like, is it even worth it to keep waiting? And, like, the guy was like, you're definitely not getting in the next hour. I would say maybe there's only a 30% chance you'll even get in by the end of the day.
Gosh,
and
okay.
I was like, what the hell? Like, we're not going to get in by the end of the day. Like, I don't have to go to the concert so I can stay here until like 8 p.m. when they close. But what do you mean we're not going to get in today? Because I waited all day.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to like have waited in line and not get in. And you should have just told me when I arrived that there's too many people and you're not going to get in today, and I would have left.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. At that point, I would have just been fine with it. But, yeah, so I just was like, you know what? I've waited here for 4 hours already. Like, what's another hour or two going to do? It's not going to kill me. So kept waiting. And then the line starts moving pretty quickly. A bunch of people left, which I think helped.
Yeah.
And I think they just said that to get people to leave the line because they knew that with the amount of people there, they were not going to get through the line before closing. But they probably have some sort of obligation to get through everybody in the line before they actually close. And they don't want to stay late. So I think they were totally lying because they just said that to get people to leave. And so then wait another hour, so total like 5.5 hours of waiting. Finally at the front of the line, and we get in, and then there's another line to wait in for merch, which was pretty short, like it was fine. Yeah. And then another line to wait in to get into the actual gallery bit. But then when you go into the gallery, they didn't have any they didn't have any staff to take pictures. Like, you had to take pictures yourself, or like get your friends to take a photo of you or whatever, which was fine. I just got my friends to take pictures of me. But like, that's the reason it took so long, pretty much, because people were going in there and they were taking like 30 pictures with their friends, and there was nobody rushing you along. Like, I went in there and we spent like 45 minutes in there so that everyone could get like the photos that they wanted and they liked them, and everyone could get the merch they wanted. And like, if every single person is going to take 45 minutes to an hour inside, obviously the line's not going to fucking move. Like,
yeah.
I just wish that they had like staff that you just hand your phone to, you sit at the photo place, they take a picture, and then you move on, because then you can't like take forever. So it was kind of annoying that I waited 5.5 hours and I just got some merch and some cute photos. But honestly, I'm glad that I stayed. I think I would have regretted not going. I just think that for like Livy's HQ, you need to understand how many people are fans of Olivia, and when you promote something, how many people are going to show up. Like, don't say that you're short-staffed and that you can't like manage a crowd like this, because they literally tweeted out that we can't manage this crowd. Like, so they were they were supposed to have the Guts bus there as well, like the one that they usually have outside the venue, as part of the gallery. So you go through the gallery and then you could also go through the bus at the end. But they had to say that they're canceling the bus. They literally tweeted out, like, due to unexpectedly large crowds, we're not going to have the bus in Toronto. And like, I was like, you could have at least put it outside the venue so that people could have that. And if they put it outside the venue, then the crowds would have split. Like, some people would have gone to the bus and some people would have gone to the gallery. But because they had both together at the same place, and it was the only thing, everybody went to the gallery. And then the other part was that they promoted it so much. Like, just walking around to get to the gallery that day, I saw like 4 different billboards being like, Jeez. Guts Gallery, Toronto, and I'm like, if I'm like not chronically online like I am, I'm going to see that and be like, oh, I like Olivia, I'm going to go to that, it's free. I just like get to go see some cool things, maybe buy some merch. And like, they also, I saw a bunch of ads for it on Instagram leading up to the event too. And I'm like, you need to understand that like, advertising an event so much means that so many people are going to show up. Like, that is literally what it means. So if you're not expecting it, it's weird. And then the other thing that I wish that they did was they had a merch booth outside the warehouse, because there were some people in the line who were like, I don't even care to see the gallery. I just want to buy the merch that's in there, because it was different merch than that was at the arena.
Yeah.
And so if they had a merch booth outside, half of the people in line would have just bought merch and left. And obviously it's really quick to just buy merch. It, like, the line would move so much quicker to just buying merch than like going through the whole gallery and everything. So I just think it was really poorly organized, and I think that they weren't expecting it, because like, you have to remember that the venue was 20,000 people and she was playing 2 nights. That means that 40,000 people are in the city, are Olivia fans. You have to be able to accommodate 40,000 people, because like, they'll probably, most of them will show up. Like, that's just the way that it is. And it sucks that a lot of people got turned away and, you know, couldn't go, or had to wait in line for a long time, or had to leave the line after waiting for so long because they had wanted to go to the concert. And these experiences are cool, and they're really nice that they can be open for everyone and not just invite only, because oftentimes that's what they are. And then unless you're like an influencer, you don't get to go. But they need to do it in the right way to make it like safe for everybody, because like, standing in line for 5.5 hours in the freezing cold is not it.
No, like, I don't know, like, obviously I wasn't there, but and I've just seen the tweet you're talking about. I think it's like, I don't know, you have to, again, what you were saying, like, say there's 40,000 people that actually have got tickets for the show. You have to take into consideration that many people, as well as the people that didn't get an opportunity to get tickets for the show, and the people that maybe just weren't interested in the concert, but like Olivia, and want merch. Like, I think there's an extra like group of people that you would have to take into consideration there. So was Olivia there, or like, because
No.
I've seen people with like photos with her.
Yeah, so there was an invite. So the gallery is open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then they had early access on Thursday, where like a bunch of fans were invited by Livy's HQ. So Olivia was there early access day. So that's what all the pictures are from. And then there's also a bunch of TikTokers and influencers who were there that day as well.
I was going to say, because I've seen all the influencers, and I was like, please don't just tell me that was an influencer only thing. But okay,
I think it wasn't just an influencer thing. I think there were also fans invited. But still.
No, that's annoying. It sounds horrible, especially those people that like waited that long and then had to leave anyway because they had to go to the concert. And it's like, there's nothing worse than waiting for something so long and then being like, oh, you can't even make it in, and it's like, well, that's annoying, because then they're probably gonna have to queue the next day or something like that. And it's
yeah, and the people behind, like the people with me who had to leave, they were like, well, we're not coming back, because like,
yeah, fair.
It's like they're gonna have to wait again, and it's just like, you know, it just doesn't feel worth it. And I kind of had that mentality, like near the end, I was just like, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home.
Yeah.
That's what I kept thinking. But like, at that point I was like, I did not wait this long to just go home with nothing.
It's like horrible. This is nothing to do with like artists or anything, but I remember when it was just before COVID, I think, or maybe after COVID, there was like an event, like a pop-up that I went to Shoreditch for in London, and I travelled all the way down just for this event. And like, you would buy, like, it was like clothes and stuff, so I had bought like stuff from them before, and they gave out like certain things that you get like in your package, and it could be like fast track, like you could be like front of the line and stuff, so there was like certain things you could get, or like a free item or whatever. So luckily I got a fast pass thing, but I got there maybe like 2 hours before it opened, and the line was huge at that point. And where I got to originally, before I went to the front of the line with the fast pass, they didn't even get up to that amount of people like in the actual venue, because it took so long. So they went the whole day and only got maybe like halfway through the line. It was their first ever pop-up thing, and it was like obviously busier than they thought it was going to be. But like, if I went to London just for that event at that time, and luckily I had a fast pass thing, because I wouldn't have even got in. So it's like to get like so they had to just give people like free things at the end and stuff. But like to get to that, like for that to, if that was me and that happened to me, I'd be like so annoyed. And that was like, I don't know, that was like, that would have been a full day of queuing, so it probably would have been the same situation there. But it's, I don't know, it's just, it's nothing worse than like, I think waiting that long and then feel like because you've not so much that you've not gained anything from it, but like you pretty much have, like, you've waited the whole day, been so excited, and then not being able to like actually experience the event or whatever, like the venue. So I feel bad for those people, but I hope they had a nice time at the show, if that's like any consolation at all.
Yeah.
I was gonna message you. I was like, oh my god, get me a t-shirt, until I realised it said Toronto on it. I was like, well, that's not, I'm not gonna get away with that, because I'm not. They're gonna know I wasn't.
They did have stuff that didn't say Toronto, so I would have gotten it to you for you, but it's too late now. I'm sorry.
You sure you don't want to go wait back in the line again? I'm just kidding.
It's closed, but maybe if I go back there.
Who knows? I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know if we'll come to Scotland. Like, maybe not the whole thing, but like maybe something to do.
I feel like maybe she'll definitely
London,
have the bus thing, but I feel like London is more likely.
London, getting,
because like
everything.
She hasn't done it anywhere other than Toronto, and obviously Toronto's like a big city, so it makes sense. And probably London, but I think also like because people already had plans to travel into Toronto from like wherever they're from.
Yeah.
For the concert, it meant that more people were gonna be there. Whereas like when they had it in New York and LA, it was when Guts came out, so it was only people who really lived in the area who went, because, or like were huge livies and would want to travel for that, because otherwise why would you drive like a couple hours even to go to this event when it's just like a gallery. Whereas if you're already in town because you're going to a concert, which is definitely a lot more of a reason to drive a couple hours, then you're obviously going to go.
Yeah. For sure. And it's like such a cool extension of like a concert. Like it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. Like to have something like that is really cool. Not even just the exclusive merch, but to have like the gallery thing. And it would be cool to see it. I've still not seen all your pictures, so I need to look. But
I will send them to you. I didn't really post them anywhere. But yes.
That's so fun.
Anyway, speaking of Olivia, we did take last week off, but she did release something last week. She released Guts Spilled Deluxe version, which has 5 new tracks on it, the 4 that were on the vinyls, and then the 1 extra track, So American.
So there's 5 tracks on this Guts Spilled version, deluxe. You've got Obsessed, Girl I've Always Been, Scared of My Guitar, and Stranger, which were the 4 different tracks on each of the 4 like variations of the Guts album originally. So you had the GUTS, and then also comes with So American, which is the 5th track on this like Guts Spilled like deluxe album. And how do you feel about them?
Okay, so I really like So American. Obviously, it was the one that like we hadn't heard before. It's really, really cute. It's like Olivia's first like love song, really. So I think it's just like really cute. And I also like Obsessed live was like so good. Literally incredible. And then the other song I really like is Stranger, and I've seen online it's like a follow-up to The Grudge, which like it totally is.
Yeah.
And like for me, as someone who like lost a friend like because of like a shitty argument at the time that The Grudge came out, like, and now has like similar feelings about it, about like that kind of relate to Stranger, it's kind of like means a lot to me. So I think those are my favorite. What about you, Jack?
I really I think my favorite, I don't know, I always kind of flip between them, but I think my favorite is like Girl I've Always Been.
Yeah.
But it was like really hard for me to choose because the genre switched so much, and like I was like initially listening to it. I was like, obviously I've heard all these tracks before except from So American, because I have the Record Store Day, Black Friday, like variation, and I've heard them all before, but like it's been a while since I've heard them because I don't go back and listen to the vinyl very often. But it was like really cool to like hear them come after it, because the way I listened to it was I listened to the album again and then listened to the new tracks, or like the deluxe tracks, to like get a proper feel for how it was meant to sound. And it's like so strange because you go from obviously the main album and then you genre switch between these different like styles and genres, but it's like it strangely really works like really well. I think Obsessed is like such a, I mean the intro is like la da da da, like that is just as catchy. And then you also like, I think from Girl I've always what is going on? Girl I've always been to Scared of My Guitar. Scared of My Guitar is probably my second favorite. It sounds so different, but that's why I love it so much. And then you go on to Stranger, and then end with So American. And So American was a nice surprise. And I really like it. I think we always speak about when like a deluxe album comes out, how these tracks extend from the original album. Like, do they complete the story, or like, because sometimes you listen to a normal album, you feel like, okay, it's maybe doesn't feel as complete as it should be, and then the deluxe comes out and you're like, okay, well this is why it doesn't feel complete, because this is it complete now. But I think like Guts can stand alone on its own, with the original tracks, and these are just like really nice extensions that are like sort of show you a wee bit more Olivia's range.
I agree. I think like we've talked about this so many times in the podcast, but like the spilled tracks on Guts are like exactly what a deluxe should be, because they show songs that were made during the time that Olivia made Guts. I guess I'm assuming about the timing that they were written, but like, and then like you can tell, you can be like you know, Scared of My Guitar Girl, I've always been like, you can tell like, oh, this song is really good, but it doesn't fit on the album. Like, you can tell why it was cut from the main album, but it's still a really good song that she wants you to hear. And that's what a deluxe album is. It's just a few songs that didn't feel like they fit on the main album, but the artist really wants you to hear. And they were part of that era of their lives. And that's exactly what this feels like. I think it doesn't feel like that problem that we've talked about before. So I'm really happy with the deluxe tracks. I think listening to them back to back in this way, unlike like having to listen to them on the vinyls or whatever, it really like shows that. And it also shows Olivia's range, and I think that's really important and something that is really great. So if you haven't listened to Guts Spilled, you definitely should listen to it.
But while we're talking about variations, I think this brings us on to like probably the last topic we're going to talk about on this, because it is a shorter episode, but it's an important one. It like, it's important in many different ways. I think us as a generation are constantly looking to be like, to better the world in any way we can, and like be a lot more conscious towards like things that are happening, and I don't think like the artists that we have coming up with and like that we're seeing blow up nowadays are like really conscious of this as well. And one of them has recently spoken out about the issue that we've spoke about as well, but I think they've done it in like a different way, and that is obviously about the excessive amounts of variations, and like vinyls and stuff and records being released by these by the music like industry, and like how they're playing on people's FOMO of like missing out, and like to get the songs and the albums up more in the charts, and like just sell more, like pretty much. So Billie Eilish spoke out about this. I think it was on Billboard. We've got an excerpt of the quote. So this was Billie talking about her recycled vinyl variations of Happier Than Ever. I don't know when this was from. This must have been recent because it only came out recently, but unless it's not from recent and it's just been picked up again. But Concert Leaks tweeted this, but you can find the excerpt on Billboard's website. the full thing, because there is a lot to go into. Well, there's not. I'm gonna just start. I keep rambling. But we live in we live in this day and age where for some reason it's very important to some artists to make all sorts of different vinyl and packaging, which up the sales and ups the numbers and gets them more money and gets them more. It just cuts off there. I don't know. I think this is where it kind of turns. I can't even express to you how wasteful it is. It is right in front of our faces, and people are just getting away with it left and right. And I find it really frustrating as someone who really goes out of my way to be sustainable and do the best that I can and try to involve everybody in my team as being sustainable. And then it's some of the biggest artists in the world making fucking 40 different vinyl packages that have different unique things just to get you to keep buying more. It's so wasteful, and it's irritating to me that we're still at the point where you care that much about your numbers and you care that much about making money, and it's all your favourite artists doing that shit. So this sparked a lot of discussion.
She spilled.
Oh yeah, she spilled, maybe not her guts, but she spilled some truth.
She spilled facts. Yeah.
So this caused a lot of like angry fans, and I get I don't get why, like, but I understand like why so many fan bases have picked this up and been like, oh, they're talking about my artist, like my favorite artist or something like that. But because there's plenty of them doing it, and I think we always try and talk about how like this initially might not be like the artist's idea of like what they want to do, but I think the artist has definitely a say in it. Like obviously it's an industry thing, and it's doing really well, so more of the record labels are pushing it. But it's also like, I think whenever this happens, like an artist needs to like check off on it and be like, yeah, that's fine, or it has to like have a wee bit more creative control and like why the variations are different and like what they come with and stuff. So there is like a thing behind who's doing it, but a lot of one of the main people that was picked up on this is Taylor, because obviously the last couple releases have come with like multiple variations, and even the Torture Poets department is coming with like certain things that like make it different. Like they come with a bonus track, or the CDs come with like different like patches and stuff like that. But she's not the only one doing it, but it is like she is one of the main people doing it. But we just spoke about Olivia there and like the Guts stuff.
She did it, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, Billie's not innocent in this either, but Billie's things are these are obviously for the Happier Than Ever. I don't think are they all yeah, they are. I think most of them are recycled variations. I think some of them might not be, from what I'm gaining. I'm not fully clocked in.
I don't know about the recycled vinyl variants. I haven't read enough about this, but just from the quote that you read out, Jack, I think that people are not like understanding. Like, I think there's a lot more nuance to something than just, oh, if you believe in something, you can't change.
Yeah. Right?
And like people are being like, oh, she had like 13 whatever variants for Happier Than Ever or whatever, and it's like, or she's had like so many variants for different things in the past. It's like, yeah, she has. That I don't think anybody's denying that she has, but that doesn't mean that she can't change her mind and like realize how wasteful it is and then try to say something about it to put a stop to it in the entire industry. I mean, we've talked about it so many times on the podcast about how big of an industry problem this is, and to have an artist speak up about it is super important. But for everybody's response to be like, oh my god, like, screw you, you're talking about Taylor, or screw you, you're talking about whatever other artist, is like insane. Because yes, she's done it before, but that doesn't mean that, one, it doesn't mean it was her decision. Like, I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say she was told by somebody at her label that these are the variants we're gonna have for this record, and she was just like, okay, because maybe she didn't know, she wasn't aware, and now she's been in the industry for so long that she's becoming aware of how much of a problem this is, and she's using her influence, which a lot of smaller artists don't have, to say, no, I don't want to do that to my fans. I don't want to do that to the environment. And other artists should follow. They shouldn't just agree, because at the end of the day, I don't think it's the artists who are like, yeah, I want to make my fans pay like so much money to hear more tracks. I'm pretty sure it's just the label being like, hey, we came up with this good idea, and the artist is like, okay, whatever, I don't really care, right? Which is not that good either, but it takes someone speaking out like this to actually make change in the industry. But if the whole response to it is going to be, well, screw you for hating on my favorite artist, then you're going to continue to pay for 30 vinyl variants from your favorite artist forever. Like,
please stop. We literally all let's gather with this and just try and make a change, because it's actually dreadful. I've had a quick look when you were speaking there. So it looks like Billie had released, or like the label had released, multiple variations of like Happier Than Ever before, and then now it's like whatever album, like whatever vinyls are now bought are the recycled versions of them, I think is what's happening. So like they've been released as like the recycled variations of them now. So she's obviously seen her like how bad it is and stuff, and like she did respond to this. She put out an Instagram story today on April, it would have been actually March 30th, 31st, can't remember when March ends, 30 days, 31 days, God, it's slipping away from me. So this was on the 31st of March, she put out this Instagram story. It's still up to date, 2 hours left on it, so it would have been last night. And she said, okay, so it would be awesome if people would stop putting words into my mouth and actually read what I said in the Billboard article. I wasn't singling anyone out. These are industry-wide systematic issues, and when it comes to variants, so many artists release them, including me. Me, capital, in capitals, exclamation mark. She's such a Swiftie. That was a dumb joke, I'm sorry. Which I clearly state in the article. The climate crisis is now, and it's all about us being part. And it's all of, I don't know why I ever read out quotes. I can't do it well. It's about all of us being part of the problem and trying to do better. Sheesh.
Yeah.
I'd like to imagine her being like sheesh, but it definitely wasn't that. She was like sheesh, like whatever. But yeah. So I don't know. I think there is definitely an issue with like it's not. It's like Billie would say something and it's always going to be taken out of like this happens all the time in the media. It's something like taken out, completely blown out of proportion. People then take it as like it's like this situation was like obviously Billie was like admitting all these other people are doing this wrong thing, and it's like the part where she was pretty much being like, oh, well, I've done it too, and like I've seen an issue in it is taken out of context and that's not being put in. So then she's getting hate for it, and then now she's like, we'll just actually read it. But I think it's something good to stay and stand up in. Like Billie's big enough now where this like obviously I think when you're smaller you don't want to piss off the record labels in any way, because then like who's going to distribute your music, right? If you're smaller it's harder for you to be seen and everything.
Yeah.
And I mean Billie's allowed to, any artist allowed to speak out on these issues, and it's just that like Billie's using her platform that she's gained and worked hard for to like promote this, and like hopefully people start to understand, and like hopefully there will be an industry change, but it's not going to be just Billie leading it. Like I think everybody needs to get on board with this and like actually try and do something about it. And I wouldn't be complaining. I don't think anybody would be complaining, because I think this, again, I'm playing on FOMO is like something that's been happening really heavily. So I don't know, I think this is hopefully a positive like start to something, but it just needs a lot more people pushing it.
I think, yeah, and I think like Swifties are online being like, oh, because she said ME with a exclamation mark, she's obviously hinting that she was specifically talking about Taylor. But I'm like, who cares if she's talking about Taylor? Like, people saying that she shouldn't be releasing so many variants is not a personal attack on saying she's an awful person. It's just a critique on the industry. And like, I think people need to use their brains and stop like taking everything as a personal attack on their favorite artist, and understand that you can have your favorite artist that you stan, but you're allowed to criticize things they do that you don't agree with, right? Like, that's just that. I mean, and if you see other people criticizing things they do that are valid, you're allowed to agree with them, and that doesn't make you less of a fan. And the internet is so reactionary that when somebody makes a good point, like Billie has, people are just gonna like start being like, well, you can't say this because you're hating on my favorite artist or whatever. And it's like, can you use your brain and read? Like, I I just, Swifties always complain, like when Taylor did the Spotify thing and like, you know, all of this stuff that like Taylor has tried, like Taylor's version, like Taylor has tried to like make better for the industry, and she has succeeded in a lot of ways. This is one of the things that another artist is trying to do, something to make the industry a better place for fans and for artists. And it's important that you support those people who are doing those things, especially when the things are super important. Just like, you know, you have supported Taylor through Taylor's version and, you know, when she was on Spotify and all those other things. And you asked other artists to support Taylor through that too. Whereas now another artist does something and it contributes directly to something your favorite artist does, you can still support them and understand that it's a really important topic to be discussed. And I know that like our audience is small and like this message won't get out into the entire world, but I really beg you to just start pushing for the music industry to do better for fans, from like, especially during a financial crisis right now. Like, people don't have money to spend on this kind of stuff, but people, and they're totally taking advantage of it. And so it's really important.
Yeah, and just like as well from like a from a climate problem, like issue as well. Like I know it's always said that there's not much we can do to like stop climate change and like to stop like the problems of the world because it's like too far gone, but that doesn't mean you can like start to slow things down by actually making and taking action on being more sustainable in every single aspect of your life, right? And this is like such a huge polluter, and like a huge part of the issue, like of the overarching issue. So I don't think there's anything wrong in just being like our world's gone to shit, like, and it's still going to shit, and there's like only so much we can do to continue to make progress to make it a little bit better. So just, I don't know, stop taking everything as like a instant attack, and just maybe try and understand what's trying to be said. Yeah, I don't know. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. You're allowed to disagree with us. We're open up for the conversation.
For sure.
But yeah, just I don't know. Billie's trying to say a nice thing and trying to do good things. So just be kind.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week, and I think we're going to be doing a first time listen, if everything goes well. I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Unless there's some super spicy drama that happens during the week, we will be doing a first time listen.
We'll also probably be doing a breakdown of an album that comes out in 3 days time, and that's so exciting, which is Lizzie McAlpine's Older.
Yeah,
and there's no more music really coming out right now except from Chloe Slater's In 2 Days on the 4th. Or it'll be actually the day we probably release this.
And Bear is releasing Better Man, which is a single off of her new EP that's coming out at the start of May. So yeah, Better Man is out April 3rd, so it'll be out when you're listening to this, so go listen to it. And then obviously Beyonce, I'm sure, like, we didn't really mention it in this podcast, but like I'm sure everyone's already heard the Beyonce album. But it's a country album. We spoke about it last week. It was out on the 29th. It's a good listen, so definitely go check that out if you are interested in that. What else is coming out that you know of, Jack? I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, pretty much from what I can think of right now. There is obviously albums coming up, like Dua Lipa's is coming out soon. Tortured Poets the Tortured Poets Department on the 19th. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now. There probably is something else, but I don't know. I've heard news that Gracie's removed the Good Riddance link from her bio, but I don't know if that's true or not. So
there's been lots of whispers on Instagram that there will be a new album coming out this year from Gracie. So we will find out we will definitely talk about it when she announces it. So it's exciting.
That's exciting. Well, look after yourselves, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.